Good morning, people. I am just pulling stuff up here. Good morning. Hi. We are on day 8. And today we are going to be making these little ornaments using Jenga blocks, tumbling tower blocks. I have a couple different. I did black ones and black and white and red and white. And they're super easy and they're super cute. And you can hand letter on them, or I have these little stamps. I think I got these at probably a thrift store, Value Village or something. Always check in those bags hanging on the wall, people, because that's where you find stuff like this. Okay. So there's 2 different sizes. The ones that I used for those other ornaments are these big ones. These ones are from Dollarama, and they're bigger. These ones are from Dollar Tree, and they're teeny weeny. So they each kind of have their own thing. You can use them for whatever. See, they're really little. These are super simple. And you can even see the size difference. So these ones are Dollar Tree. These ones are Dollarama. So anyways, we're using the bigger ones. And I also, a while back in the membership group, little scraps of decoupage paper. So this is just a tiny little piece. It was probably about that big. And what else are you going to use that on? And it will make really cute little, I haven't painted the back of this yet, but just paint the back, and they're little gift tags or any kind of cute little tags. They're super easy. So basically first, we're just going to paint some of these. And I'm going to be using Fusion. I'm just trying to find a brush here. I'll just use this one. Fusion in Picket Fence again, because it's the white. Good morning, Vita. Good morning, Linda. For some reason, Linda, I was going to call you Johnson. I don't know why. Who does that? My brain went on a little holiday there. Okay, so this dries fast. So this is just, I was going to have these pre-painted, but I didn't. And I just pretty much put one coat. I kind of like that translucent kind of look on these, because you kind of want them to look rustic. Hi, Susan. Thanks. There's all kinds of, I think, crafts out there that you can use making these little Jenga blocks. This is just, I've been meaning to do this for a couple years, honestly. But I could only ever see the tiny ones, the ones at Dollar Tree, and they're kind of small, so you're a little more limited. And then I found these ones this year. I'm just going to put this brush down so I have something to lean that on. You're a little bit more limited as to what you can put on there when they're super tiny. These ones are a little bit bigger, so they're easier. So has anybody been doing any crafting, or you have your trees up yet? I don't have my tree up yet. Our tree is huge. It's a 12-footer. We have really high ceilings in our living room. And it's kind of a project to put that tree up, so I have not done so yet. The first year we were in the new house, we went and we got a real tree. A 12-foot real tree. That was a little bit of a fiasco because the tree was too heavy for the water, the reservoir. So it kind of pushed the bottom out. So as I'm watering the tree, all the water is just oozing out on the floor, and I didn't know because of the tree skirt. First Christmas, new house, hardwood everywhere. So I was kind of freaking out. Sewing a lot of, no tree up yet. Brand new kitten, oh goodness. Yes, my daughter has a brand new kitten too, and she's, we were talking about it yesterday. I don't think she's gonna put a tree up either. It's not worth the stress that first year. So anyways, our floor, for some weird reason, it did not damage our floor. We caught it in time. And yeah, it was a bit, my husband had to go upstairs and lean over the railing and pull the tree from the top so that I could get a big, like a Rubbermaid tote lid underneath the stand and underneath the water reservoir. Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess. But we survived. And that was the last time we got a real tree. And then we looked and looked for a 12-foot Christmas tree, but I have a real problem. The cheapest one I could find, I think, was $8.99 at Canadian Tire for a 12-footer. And that's crazy price for a Christmas tree. I just, yeah, couldn't. So I built a Christmas tree for our second year out of, I think, 3 old trees. I built one. Little Dollar Tree fancied up tree. Yeah, that would work. No, it wasn't worth it, Susan. It just wasn't. I like it, but no, pain in the butt. So I built, I don't know how far it is. Well, that's quite a few years ago already, probably 5 years when I made the homemade tree out of a bunch of old ones. It worked. You couldn't tell unless you looked at it really closely. It was kind of janky, but and then we were at an auction, a Canadian Tire auction actually, and we got that big honkin' 12-foot tree for $10. The stand was broken, so we fixed the stand, and ta-da! $10 versus $8.99. $899. Crazy. But it's giant, and it's a job to put up, and you need ladders to decorate, and you know, the stuff. So it's kind of a project. I got to have some time to dedicate. Okay, so I guess you can't really see that. I just have a paintbrush on its side, and I just lean these on there so they're not sitting directly on the paper, and it helps when you're waiting for them to dry. Just get those ends. Oh, that's cool, Linda. I've seen those. They look pretty cool. Okay, we're almost done with this paintings. I have a few of those Dollar Tree, those little trees in the boxes. I bought a couple of them this year. Well, I probably bought about 5 or 6 of them. And now I see most Dollar Trees are sold right out of them. So many people use them for crafts, for wreaths, for centerpieces, for all kinds of things. YouTube is full of videos on what to do with those Dollar Tree little trees. They even have white ones. I don't know if the white ones are new, but one more. Okay. I'm gonna wipe that lid out so I have some hope of opening this jar after. Your Advent. I like your Advent calendar. I don't know if Terramana tequila comes in those little bitty bottles, but if it did, that would be a pretty sweet Advent calendar. I don't think it does yet. I think it's just your standard. There we go. Okay. So now, my ever-sinking stool. So now what we're going to do is we are going to, are these dry enough? We'll heat gun this a little bit. Okay. Now, while I've got them like this, I'm going to drill the tiny hole in the top. Just kind of eyeball your center. Doesn't have to be super deep, but you're gonna be, hopefully that's deep enough. Oh yeah. All right. Oh, I forgot my stamp pad. 1 second. Okay. So these ones, I'm gonna make these ones into little gift tags. These ones I wrote peace, love, blessed, and gather on them. And they're a little set of the 4 for little ornaments for the tree. These ones, I think I'm gonna make them little gift tags. So I'm gonna put names on them. The fun part is gonna be finding the letters. So we will start with, I'll start with the name Amelia. That is my granddaughter's name. There's the A. M. If I had these in a little box where I could see, there's an L. E. I need an I. I think that's an exclamation point. There's an I. And I have the A already. Okay. So, these little stamps are super simple, but you can always just hand paint on there. And I'll show you how to do that. It makes it kind of easier. We'll do that on the next one. So these are pretty simple little stamps. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Try to get it in as straight a line as you can. But you're just kind of eyeballing it. I got a little bit of ink. There, I'll have to touch that up with some paint. All right. So there's that one. And then we will do, who else? How about her mama? Her mama's name is Caroline. That's a long one. I'm not sure what brand these stamps are, but I know a lot of you are scrapbookers. So you probably have access to a ton of these little bitty stamps. I was never into scrapbooking, so I pick these up whenever I find them at thrift stores. I have kind of a stash that I've been hoarding. It does, Linda. Trying to keep it straight in my head so I spell everything right. Well, that one looks kind of messed up, but... And then we'll do Dad, which is short and sweet and 3 letters. Oh, this L, I always have trouble with the L. So even though this is a permanent ink, sometimes if you kind of get to it early enough, you can get the bulk of it off. I try scrapbooking and quilting, I'm broke. I bet, hey? That's probably why I never got into scrapbooking. It was so popular when my kids were little, and I just, yeah, the disposable income was not there. Okay, I'm going to show you how to hand letter now on these little, because we all know Amelia's getting more than one gift, so I'll make an extra tag for her. She's going to be 2 on Monday. So she's entering the toddler stage. Okay, so I'm going to just pencil on here somehow. I'm going to use that just to stabilize my hand at the same height. Can you see this? There we go. It's all about how your hand position. Okay. So once you get it penciled on, the trick to actually painting it is your brush and the consistency of your paint. I think that brush will be fine. You want to use, these are what's called like a striping brush. They have long, thin bristles. Like there's not a lot there. And what I do is just put a little bit of paint. I know I've got some black here. You don't need a lot, but see how thick this paint is? Like it doesn't even want to drip. A little bit of paint and some water. So you want it to be fairly liquid. I'm just gonna grab my spray bottle. I keep forgetting I zoomed in on this, so you're not gonna be able to see. So I'm gonna mix that the best I can. Okay. I think I've got too much. Oh, it might work. It's kind of more gray now. A little bit too much water. But now the fun part is trying to keep your hand steady. Especially me, I'm shaky now. Very shaky. Great morning to try to show you guys this. And you're basically just tracing out your lettering. And like I said, this is a little bit, I'm going to add a little bit more paint. Yes, but Sharpies have that, they get that weird kind of a reddish metallic-y tinge to them sometimes, and sometimes I want pure black. I don't like that kind of, it's like a iridescent kind of red shimmer that you can get with a Sharpie. I don't know how else to explain it. This would be better on like a little saucer or something that wasn't so bowl-like. This was easier when I could see. And with this, if you decide to do it this way, you can type it out using any font like on your computer, and then just use carbon paper to transfer it onto your project. I haven't done this in a great long while. All right. Okay, we're gonna call that a win. let that dry. And now we are going to make the little hook to go in the top. And with that, I'm just using black wire. You can buy this anywhere, Canadian Tire, any hardware store. I just cut off, it's kind of, I don't know, about 1 3/4 inch, 1.5-ish. You don't need very much. And I take another paintbrush and you basically just wrap it around the handle at the halfway point. Hold on to the free ends like this, and then just squeeze it around your paintbrush. What that does is it gives you that little hook shape instead of it just being kind of a wonky little hook. When you do it that way, if you hang on to this end and then you try to squeeze, they end up all kind of crossed and weird. So that works out the best. And then I just use a little squirt of glue, hot glue, on there and pop it in there. And there you go. You have a hook. So super simple to do them all that way. Just gonna cut off chunks here. Yes, you can buy hooks, but I live in Murnum. Sometimes I don't always have this stuff, and there's no hardware store to run to pick them up. So I have to figure out ways to do things with what I have. And I pretty much 99% of the time have wire. So it's super simple to do this. And it works. Easy way to make little hooks. Little bit of glue. You don't want to put too much glue because then it just oozes out, but you can always cut off the excess. Oh, and I like to put it that way. So then your ornament hangs, your tag hangs the right way, if that makes any sense. You could use colored Sharpies, Pearl. It's the black ones that I don't like the color that comes out of them. Unless they've changed and I didn't notice. Okay. Now, just to dress them up a little bit, we are going to take, this one's going to be harder because it's a long name. Going to take some red and I'm just going to wrap it around the bottom. There's all kinds of paint pens and whatnot out there now too. I don't know, somebody ate my scissors. Oh, there they are. That make it easier. But usually you have paint and you have some sort of a little brush that you can make do. Let's do this one in black. One more for the little one. We're going to do this one with the black. All right. Now you just have to make your little piece to hang it with. And I used this very fine twine, jute twine on the ones I made before. And it's a little bit harder to find. I don't know if they're having issues with it this year, but I had a little bit more trouble trying to find it. So then when I found it, I bought a bunch of them. So sometimes these little, I have some little red beads. Sometimes it's kind of fun to get the twine through these beads. There we go. Yeah, there's all, if you could find some napkins, Vita, with farm animals on them, like little bitty napkins usually have smaller images. You can decoupage it on there. They just add a little touch of handmade and just a cute little name tag. And you can always just write from Grandma, or in my case, it's Granny, on the back. It's super simple. Okay, so I tried some of this. I don't know if this is gonna work. This I just got also, I don't remember if this is Dollar Tree or Dollarama. It's one of them. But I thought this might kind of work good too. It's hemp cord instead. Let's get rid of that curly part. Thought this might be a little easier to get through the beads. And I have some black beads kicking around. This is kind of a good project, like if you're just sitting around in the evening and you're kind of, I don't know, binging some show on Netflix, or just kind of make it with a bunch of little bits and bobs that you have hanging out, right? Make them all unique. These packs of these tumbling tower blocks are, I think this one, these bigger blocks, it's $3. So they're not, and you can get, these beads here are also, these are also from a Dollarama. I think it's a Dollarama. I think it's $4 for a big thing of them. They turn out pretty cute, I think. I want to try, I have the same cord. This is way easier to weave through these beads. Way easier. And this kind of stuff, they sell the same stuff at Michael's all the time, but it's so crazy expensive through Michael's. And it just kind of discourages. The little bit of actual craft supplies you can buy at Michael's are always crazy expensive. They seem to be more on the buying stuff already done. Well, that's not how I wanted this to work at all. Never thought of using those little blocks for anything. I know. I think I saw it a couple years ago. Somebody was using them to make, I think they were gluing a bunch of them together and making bigger ornaments. And that didn't really, but it kind of stuck in my head to use them. And then I thought, why not do it this way? Oops, that's not what I want. I have these cute little star ones too. I think this was like a garland or something that I took apart. That's another thing. You find these kind of, beads are expensive. I don't know if it's the whole resurge of the macrame world or what's going on, but sometimes you find these garlands or something at thrift stores and I just take them apart for the beads or even jewelry. A dental floss threader. I don't even know what that is. What do you even use that for? What's a dental floss threader, Linda? I don't know what that is. My dental floss comes on those little plastic thingies you buy. Or just in the little container. Okay, I'm gonna do this one with black, but I want the... And don't forget to run it through there first before you start putting all your beads on. Makes it a little bit easier. I'm curious about this dental floss threader. But it sounds like a pretty awesome little unit if it can thread through these beads. Because you can't use a needle. Most of these beads, like this one, has way too small of a hole. So just keep digging for a bead that has a bigger hole. There's one. Am I going to be able to get this second one through there? Yes, I just licked my finger to do that. I don't think it's going to work. What the heck? How'd I get it through that other one so easily? Oh, maybe. I'll have to ask Tony. Tony had braces when she was my daughter. But she was, oh boy, almost 18. So I didn't have to pay that much attention to what was happening. Well, that's not working. Let's put a red one. How's that? Is this not going to work either? Huh. Well, that sounds like an awesome little thing for something like this. Thanks, Linda. Would have never known there was such a thing. All right. So there you go. Much easier to stamp than to hand letter. But yeah, there's different ways that you can do it. And then you can just have, you know, you can put your love on the back, touch up my little stamping mix-ups here. And there you go. An easy way, easy, and just, I don't know, better than just a little card paper on there as a tag. They're kind of cute. You can use them for all kinds of stuff. Different colors, different styles. Easy peasy. All right, guys, that is it for day 8. We will be 20 years in Dell. Yeah, I bet. Huh, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna look into it, Linda, for sure, because it sounds mighty handy. All right, guys, so tomorrow, I think my plan for tomorrow is going to be a decoupage project again, but it's going to be a different application method. So you don't need, different application method. It'll be fun. It took me a little bit of trial and error to figure it out and what kind of product I could use, but I think I got it. And it's super fun and kind of cool. So that'll be tomorrow. And what else did I have to tell you? I got nothing. It snowed, crazy snow out there today. So I don't know if we're gonna be getting a lot or if we're getting more or if that's it. I'm not sure. But anyways, you guys have a great day. I will see you tomorrow at 10 if you want to join me. And I will, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Bye.